using the money to put on a memorial service, and they wound up with nothing there. So they were in communications with a bank and trying to get the whole situation taken care of. But you can imagine a time in a family's life when they're grieving and already have so much on their mind and on their spirits. Sort of coming to grips with the loss of a loved one. Having a criminal in there masquerading as that person and generating fraudulent charges is just adding real insult to injury. And so we were successful in Michigan in getting that protection put in our act. But as long as we're on that topic, I guess it's probably worth mentioning that if a loved one in your family dies, it is a good idea to call the three major credit reporting agencies and report that person as deceased. The credit reporting agencies, that's TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, and we'll have information for consumers that they can see later at the end of the show. We'll put deceased person flags on the account. Same thing with Social Security. Be sure to let the Social Security Administration know that this flag should be, or this file should be flagged. All the bank accounts, the bank should be notified, the utility companies. Basically anybody that the deceased person had an ongoing financial relationship with should be notified.
What is the scope of identity theft? And here we're talking about getting into a deceased person's checking account. Sure. You've talked about the internet. What are some other things that would fall under the umbrella of identity theft? Well,
during the hearings back in 2003, I believe, that held at the Senate, I'm sure you remember those. There was a person there testifying to his own identity having been misused by his own father, beginning when he was an infant. And this is a gentleman who was then in his late 20s. So this was a case of identity theft that began way before identity theft was really a common household term. And he had, as a child, had his identity misused. When he got out into the world as an adult and started trying to arrange credit, purchase cars, lease apartments, he discovered that he had horrible credit ratings. And in fact, there had been crimes and debts already listed under his name, pages long, that he had, of course, as a child, no awareness of. So the problem of child identity theft is a very real one. As soon as there's a birth certificate, there's a possibility to apply for a Social Security number. And you can imagine that somebody that's got a Social Security number that's already associated with a lot of fraudulent activity would love to have a new number. And that way they get a number that's already been assigned to a person, if it's their child, a person with their name. It's a valid number that's actually been assigned by the Social Security Administration. And there's really not a great likelihood of them being caught if they're relatively careful about how they use it. So that's getting to be a real problem. Some states have enacted laws that would make identity theft of children's information child abuse that would be subject to Health and Human Services oversight. But the problem really is to be able to detect it and protect the child, and that's a difficult problem. Servicemen, members of the military, especially those who are off on active duty, tend, unfortunately, to have a higher incidence of identity theft than the average public or average member of the public, in part because they are often removed from their mail by a matter of days or weeks sometimes. And we often advise people first to make sure that they pay close attention to the bills they get in the mail. Their bank statements, credit card statements, statements from their insurance companies, any securities brokers, utilities, telephone, whatever it might be that comes regularly that has financial information about you on it. We tell people it's a good idea, first off, to know roughly what time of the month these different bills will come, to make sure that their mail hasn't been diverted, so that they're actually not getting the bills according to schedule, and then to open those right away and look at them carefully to see, are there any charges on my bill that I don't recognize? My wife just called me this morning, for example, and she said, hey, I've got a charge here for $113 at a local drugstore from early May. Did you go spend $113 there? And I had to think about it. And I thought, oh yeah, I did. I bought something that was a little out of the ordinary. But those are the sort of things that you need to watch for, because it could just as easily have been that I'd made a $5 purchase and possibly somebody working there or someone else had used my information to buy things in my name that they kept and I had no knowledge of. So looking through your credit card charges, especially looking through your checks, if possible even getting electronic access to your account records so that you can see more quickly than once a month if you're concerned exactly what transactions have been posted to your account is really one of the best things you can do to detect identity theft early on.
What are some of the things you can do to protect yourself? What should the average consumer be doing when they give out their credit card or credit card number?
Yep, that's a great question, because I think people are concerned about identity theft, and I think we see two different phenomena. People that think it's never going to happen to me, and then other people think, well, there's so many people have my information, I'm powerless to do anything about it. But really there are things that consumers can do. First off, you need to have a mindset that your information is valuable. People are interested in getting your information. There's a black market out there where people are only too happy to sell people's social security numbers, credit card numbers, passport numbers, other identifying information because it's valuable and can be used to perpetrate fraud. So all your numbers that identify you specifically, driver's license, social security, passport, whatever it might be, account numbers at banks, utility account numbers, maybe even your password at Amazon if you do a lot of shopping online. Protect that information. Just have a mindset where you're aware that that's valuable, that somebody might like to have it, and take steps to protect it. Now we all get a huge pile of information delivered to us electronically by email or just by regular mail even. Now we also like to let consumers know that these pre-approved credit card offers that they will get in the mail, if they haven't taken steps to avoid getting them, they may be getting 5 or 10 a week. And you've all seen them. They're the types that say, well, 0% or 3% interest introductory offer, you've been pre-approved for credit. The reason you get those is because you are being pre-screened by the credit reporting agencies to generate lists for banks and other lenders of people with particularly good credit that might be interested in an offer. The problem with these offers is they contain a lot of information. If you open one, they might have your name on it, they might have your address, and some other identifying information. So if you take that pre-approved credit offer and simply throw it in your trash, someone who knows that there can be a lot of valuable information in an apartment dumpster or even in a residential garbage can out by the street on garbage day can take that information, say, okay, here's the person, we know where they live, we have some other information about them, and we also know that they're considered creditworthy by somebody. Let's see if we can use this person's identity or identifying information to open up a charge account in their name somewhere. But they can, and we'll have this information for them at the end of the show, they can dial a toll-free number and say, I would like to opt out of the pre-screened credit offers. And their name will be dropped from the list of people that are even considered for these offers.
That covers all of these, or it should cover all of these companies?
Right, exactly. It's one number, and it will be shared with all 3 of the big credit reporting agencies.
Is that a Michigan provision, or is that a federal?
No, that's federal. And it is effective. We've all done it in our office and sort of compared results.
Test.
And it does definitely reduce the amount of that sort of mail that you get, giving you one less piece of valuable information that you should feed religiously into your shredder before you put it in your garbage can.
So just once again, this is my guest, Tracy Conneborn, who's an Assistant Attorney General with the state of Michigan, and we're talking about identity theft. And Tracy's explaining that if you get these pre-approved credit offers in the mail, if somebody else gets a hold of them, they could fill it in and possibly get a credit card under your name.
Right.
So you should probably shred those or destroy them. Don't just throw them out at the curb.
Yeah, I've heard poison ivy can be fed to goats. I don't know if pre-approved credit offers can be destroyed by goats or not, but still the safest way is probably to shred them.
And then beyond that, you can call. There's a number you can call to get your name taken off the list of people that get these offers.
Exactly right, and it will reduce the clutter in your mailbox and